the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on supply chains, DHL is part of MBA supply chain program for the academic year 2025-2026. Supervised by Dr. Dalia Yenis, represented by Ahmed Mohamed taher Sayed, Ola Mohamed Hassan. Table of Contents. What exactly is a supply chain? It is the integrated network that turns raw materials into finished products and delivers them to customers. It includes suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, transport providers, and warehouses. Why is this important? Supply chains account for 70 to 80% of the final product cost in most industries.
In a hyper-connected world, global trade serves as the vital lifeline of our economy, bridging continents and cultures through a vast, invisible network. At the heart of this movement is DHL, navigating the complexities of logistics to ensure that the pulse of commerce never skips a beat. From raw materials and industrial hubs to the finished products in your hands, the integrated network is a marvel of modern engineering and strategy. DHL's journey began in 1969. What started as a small document delivery service quickly transformed into a global logistics powerhouse. In Egypt, DHL has established a dominant presence, securing a 45% market share and serving as a gateway to the African continent. But in early 2020, the world faced an unprecedented shock. The COVID-19 pandemic brought global movement to a grinding halt. Borders closed, and the logistics industry faced its greatest challenge. Passenger planes were grounded, and supply chains were pushed to the brink. The financial impact was immediate. DHL saw its operating profit drop from €1.2 billion to 592-1 in just one quarter. Resilience, however, was in the company's DNA. DHL quickly pivoted to a dual-track response, focusing on business continuity and employee safety. Technicians worked tirelessly, utilizing ultra-cold storage containers to transport life-saving vaccines to every corner of the globe. Simultaneously, the boom in e-commerce meant that delivery drivers became the essential link between isolated consumers and the goods they needed. The strategy paid off. By 2021, group revenue jumped by 29%, proving the immense strength of a resilient supply chain. Looking ahead, DHL is redefining the future with a strategic roadmap centered on sustainability and digital transformation. AI-driven warehouses and smart logistics cities will minimize the environmental footprint while maximizing efficiency and security.
SWOT analysis, internal factors. DHL's internal strengths created unbeatable advantages. Their own fleet of 280-plus aircraft operated at 85% capacity versus competitors' 30%. A network across 220 countries diversified risk. Financial strength allowed €3.9 billion investment during the crisis. 5 business segments enabled cross-subsidization. Digitalization cut absenteeism by 35%. And in healthcare logistics, 1 billion vaccine doses delivered with 0 errors. Crisis became opportunity.
But DHL faced real vulnerabilities. Heavy dependence on global trade hit their B2B segment hard. High operating costs from fuel spikes and additional leasing squeezed margins. 40% of B2B revenue came from just 100 clients' dangerous concentration. In Egypt, reliance on local couriers created disruptions when those partners failed. And their forecasting systems, never designed for 40% weekly volatility. These weaknesses exposed gaps that needed urgent fixing.
DHL capitalized on massive external opportunities. E-commerce surged, boosting shipments by 45%. The pharma logistics market expanded to €5 billion annually. Nearshoring shifted 64% of companies toward new sourcing strategies. Automation added 10,000 robots, reducing labor costs by 18%, and sustainability initiatives attracted eco-conscious clients. Growth opportunities were everywhere.
DHL faced serious external threats. Amazon building its own fleet ramped up competition. Geopolitical crises, like the Ukraine war, closed airspace. Fuel costs spiked 80% between 2020 and 2022. New carbon regulations threaten millions in extra taxes. And the e-commerce slowdown cooled demand. Navigating these headwinds was critical for survival.
Pestel analysis. Political factors brought both disruption and critical support. Border closures created 50-kilometer truck queues, costing DHL 10% of its Eastern Europe capacity. Yet, government partnerships proved vital. A €50 million German subsidy slashed leasing costs by 15%. Even mandatory vaccination hurdles were overcome through incentives, raising driver compliance to 92%. The lesson: government relations aren't just bureaucracy, they are strategic lifelines during a crisis.
Economic factors created significant headwinds. GDP contracted 3.1% in 2020, crushing B2B demand. Automotive down 70%, aviation down 85%. Inflation hit 4.7% in 2021, driving up wages and fuel costs. Oil prices spiked from $20 to $85 per barrel, adding €1.2 billion in fuel costs. Exchange rate volatility cost another €150 million. But one opportunity emerged. E-commerce boomed with 27% global growth, partially compensating for these losses.
Social changes transformed logistics overnight. E-commerce exploded. Online shoppers in Europe surged from 52% to 74%, driving DHL shipments up 45%. Work-from-home trends spiked equipment shipments by 300%. Health awareness created 400% higher demand for cold chain shipping, prompting a €200 million investment in ultra-cold facilities. Contactless delivery deployed across 100 countries in just 6 weeks. The lesson: social changes can happen rapidly when a strong catalyst exists.
Technology became DHL's game changer. 10,000 robots deployed in 2021, up from 2,000, boosting productivity 50%. Blockchain ensured zero temperature errors across 1 billion vaccine doses. Electric aircraft promised 30% lower costs by 2024. And AI forecasting achieved 95% accuracy, saving €500 million annually. Technology wasn't support anymore, it was strategy.
Environmental responsibility became a strategic priority, not just compliance. DHL committed to net zero emissions by 2050, with €7 billion invested in green solutions by 2030. 8. Fuel-efficient Boeing 777F aircraft cut fuel burn by 18%, a €2.8 billion investment. And the Go Green program reduced virgin plastic use by 25% in 2021 alone through sustainable packaging. Sustainability wasn't just good PR, it attracted eco-conscious clients and future-proofed operations.
Legal frameworks tested DHL's agility. They navigated customs bottlenecks by creating a rapid response unit, cutting medical clearance time from 3 days to just 4 hours. A €50 million investment in encryption ensured zero data violations during the crisis. Yet, evolving labor laws added pressure, costing an extra $30 million to reclassify drivers in regions like California. The lesson: turning legal compliance into operational speed is vital.
See the stark contrast. The old supply chain model was fragile, dependent on single sourcing from Asia, and obsessed with cutting costs, leading to broken networks when crisis hit. DHL showed us the resilient alternative. Instead of just lean operations, they built flexibility. With their own global fleet, 10,000 robots, and advanced AI and blockchain tech, DHL transformed potential chaos into a controlled, adaptable powerhouse.
Traditional supply chains proved dangerously fragile. We saw global GDP shrink by 3.1%, while B2B demand plummeted by 70% and the aviation sector crashed by 85%. The old model relying on just-in-time delivery and single sourcing simply couldn't cope with this shock.
DHL's resilience strategy delivered real results. Maintaining a network across 220 countries, they achieved a massive 99.8% on-time delivery rate. Thanks to advanced technology and automation, they even increased order processing speed by 42% during the chaos.
The lesson for emerging markets is a shift from fragility to resilience. The future isn't about choosing between cost efficiency and security, it's about balancing both. By adopting AI, blockchain, and automation, businesses can build a future-ready supply chain that is flexible, sustainable, and digitalized. Conclusion and strategic recommendations. DHL's resilience strategy didn't just help them survive, it led to remarkable financial success. By leveraging owned assets like aircraft, fleets, and warehouses, combined with diversified business segments, DHL achieved a staggering 94% EBIT jump between 2019 and 2021. While competitors struggled, DHL turned crisis into opportunity. The pandemic fundamentally changed global supply chain philosophy. We moved from lowest cost at any price to resilience and security. This wasn't just theory. 64% of companies actually revised their sourcing strategies, shifting toward nearshoring and regional distribution. The era of pure cost optimization is over. Vaccine distribution opened a massive new market opportunity. By delivering over 1 billion doses with zero errors, DHL established itself as the leader in pharmaceutical logistics. This market isn't temporary, it's projected to grow 12% annually until 2030. DHL positioned itself perfectly for long-term growth in healthcare logistics. Our SWOT and PESTEL analysis confirms DHL's strengths and opportunities significantly outweigh weaknesses and threats over the medium term of 3 to 5 years. Owned assets, global network, digitalization, and financial strength create a competitive moat that positions DHL for sustained success in the post-pandemic world.
In the short term, we recommend for decisive actions to secure growth and stability. First, lock in fuel prices with long-term contracts to stabilize costs, 30% below market volatility. Second, offer flexible warehousing to attract 5,000 new small clients. Third, launch retention campaigns to boost loyalty and cut employee turnover to 12%. And finally, invest heavily in cold chain expansion across Africa and Asia to capture a 30% market share by 2024. For strategic moves for the next 1 to 3 years, a resilience center with 50 experts will cut crisis response from 6 weeks to 1. AI forecasting will achieve 95% accuracy, cutting inventory 20% and stockouts 40%. Keen says micro-fulfillment hubs will deliver in 24 hours across 80% of cities, and Go Green Plus will generate 300 million euros annually, turning strategy into measurable results.
Looking ahead 3 to 7 years, we're combining global innovation with regional focus. Globally, 100 electric aircraft, smart logistics cities, full document digitization, and a new crisis management academy. In Egypt, a 50 million euros hub in the new capital, expanded local courier partnerships, and repurposed vaccine infrastructure for seasonal health needs. The takeaway: resilient, digitally integrated supply chains are no longer optional, they're essential for survival.
As we enter a new era, DHL remains the benchmark for logistics excellence, providing resilience and security for a changing world.
Thank you for your time. I hope this analysis provided a clear and valuable perspective on the future of supply chain resilience. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.